Things Podcast. Hey, Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest episode of the Needless Things Podcast, where we talk about toys, movies, music, and all manner of pop culture dorkery. I am your host, Dave, and this morning I was behind the Devo car again, but this time I got photographic evidence. So if you're following Phantom Turbomaker on Instagram, you can see an admittedly blurry photo of this Devo car that I've ended up behind several random times in my long journey to and from work. So that's a point of interest. I don't know that interest is the word. Curiosity, maybe. In other news, my body continues to fall apart as I age. My lovely wife and I attended the Ghost concert last week and stood for 3 hours-ish in relatively the same spot and have both sort of paid the consequences, which sounds ridiculous to say. I'm in pain from having stood for 3 hours, but that's the only thing that I did that's outside of my normal routine, and I've got the right at the base of my spine when I walk is just extremely uncomfortable. And normally what I do when I have back issues, because as I've mentioned on the show before, I fell off a roof 12, 13 years ago, and since then, every once in a while, my body gets misaligned or I have back problems or whatever. Usually I slap some Tiger Balm on it, take some Dones, and go on with my day. But this where I am in pain now is a little too low to put Tiger Balm on. I would be risking a spread into areas where I don't want it, if you catch my drift. So I'm just dealing with it, coping with the pain, walking around, getting up, trying not to remain in one position for too long, and that's what's happening. In other news, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah. I hope everybody's having a great December. I hope everything is going well, whether you celebrate things or not. I hope you're having a magical end of the year. Today's episode is going to help make things magical because we have our buddies Ryan and Jay back on the show talking about Christmas stuff. We run down the 12 things of Christmas, which is a theme I didn't necessarily stick to all that well because I don't love it. I want obviously 12 Days of Christmas. You know the song, whether it's the Muppets version or some other, or perhaps you love the Twisted Sister version, the heavy metal Christmas. But whatever the case, you know the song, and I wanted to relate this to that somehow, but I couldn't really come up with a catchy, needless Thingsian title. So, like a few times throughout the episode, I just said, "Well, it's the next thing of Christmas," and it didn't. It wasn't good enough to be a thing. It might have even been a needless thing, as it were. But anyway, we talk about 12 things we love about Christmas, about the season. And then at Jay's suggestion, we had a section of humbugs. So it's a fun episode. We just kind of go back and forth talking about things that we love about the season, things that we do to get in the mood for the season. And maybe you'll learn something Christmassy. Maybe it'll enhance your own Christmas season. What else have we got going on around here? So I mentioned we went and saw Ghost. And pertaining to that, this past Monday on needlessthingspodcast.com, something new happened. It's an idea that I've been kind of toying with for a while now. And it is this. The idea of the Needless Things mini-cast, when I have content that does not fit the structure or perhaps the length of a standard Needless Things episode, which can be anywhere from like an hour and 15 to 3 hours apparently. But there have been times over the years of doing this show where I've recorded something with somebody or wanted to record something and it just didn't fit into the normal format, such as it is. And how this came about is months ago. This is actually after we recorded the Blue Hawaii Needless Commentary back in, I think it was June. Our pal Dan Kelly and Ryan and Nicole hung out for a little while, and we discussed Ghost's most recent album, Prequel. And I just haven't known what to do with it. It was only like a half-hour conversation, and I didn't know what to partner it up with. I had thought about maybe after the live show doing something, but nothing ever came together to add to that to make it an episode. So what I decided to do this past Monday is just release that as is. I threw intro music on at the beginning. I threw a sting on at the end, and that's it. I didn't record an intro like what you're listening to right now. I just put it up there as a Needless Things minicast. It's the first one of probably many. I don't expect them every week, but there will be another one coming up this Monday because after we were done talking about Christmas stuff, Ryan and I hung out and talked about Mezco's 112 Collective action figure line for a little while, and that's going to be the second Needless Things minicast. I don't know if there'll be another one before the end of the year. I don't know when the next one will be. It'll just be whenever there's a thing to talk about and somebody wants to talk about it, and we do it, and it's just not quite a Needless Things episode. So anyway, if you go to needlessthingspodcast.com or you go to the Podbean site, you can get a hold of the very first minicast, which is a great conversation. It's not really a review of Prequel. It's a conversation about Ghost, about my ignorance about the band Ghost, and just what we all thought about the album. It's fun. It's a really fun little episode, and it's like 35 minutes. And this coming Monday, it's a little bit longer, but it's still one of those things that doesn't fit into the structure or the timing of a Needless Things podcast. But today's episode certainly does, and it's kicking off December with a great conversation about Christmas. And I think you guys are going to have a great time listening to it. Since it is December, I want to be sure and put over our friends that contribute to the show. First of all, our theme song by Lysexoflex. You can find them at lysexoflex.com. And check out Procrastibate. That's the name of the track. This is the instrumental version. You can hear the full NSFW version on their website. The Mystery Men provide our interstitial music here on the show, themysterymenofsurf.com. Their new album, Firewalkers, is out now. I've heard 2 tracks off of it. I have not yet heard the full album because I'm waiting. They're in outer space. What are you going to do? You have to wait for communications to come in from these guys before you can start using stuff. So hopefully, maybe next year, we'll have some new interstitial music from their album. So check out the Mystery Men on Facebook and mysterymenofsurf.com. And finally, also our friends, the Casket Creatures, who are on the show frequently in one form or another, who have provided music a couple of times, and who are just generally all-around awesome guys. And there are a couple of shows coming up that I'm going to talk about next week. But for now, I think it's time. It's time to get into some Christmas stuff. I've got the trees are up, the decorations this weekend. We got more stuff going up. I'm feeling pretty darn jolly, you guys, and that's helped by the giant belly I've gotten from all of the eggnog and Christmas-themed food I've been eating. I really need to calm down on this stuff, or else I'm going to not fit in my fancy Christmas suit for a thing that I'm hosting later this month. But anyway, it's time to talk Christmas with Ryan and Jay. Oh, and also please check out belligerentmonkey.com, where Jay posts all of the pop culture art that he has for sale. Prints, magnets, whatever you can think of. Jay's done some cool stuff. One of my favorite things he did was my suggestion, Billy D. Williams as Two-Face. Right? Great idea. So go to belligerentmonkey.com, do a little bit of Christmas shopping, help out a great local artist, and now it is time to talk Christmas. It is time to welcome the holidays to the Needless Things podcast, and there's no better way to do it than to bring two old pals back to the show. Jay and Ryan, welcome back to the show, and Merry Christmas to you both.
Merry Christmas to you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, great to be here.
Are you guys ready to talk about the things that make Christmas magic for us?
I am.
Absolutely.
Over the years, since I've been an adult, I have spent more Merry Christmases with you guys than probably anybody else, outside of family. And I know that you guys know how to throw down and have happy holidays. So what we're going to do for this episode is talk about 12 things of Christmas. And each of us is going to have a few different picks of special things that we like to do, watch, listen to, participate in, whatever the case may be. Basically just anything that makes us feel Christmassy and have fun at the holidays. And we're just going to do a round robin. And Ryan, if you're ready, what is the first thing of Christmas?
I would say the first thing for me is probably one of the first things we do is we definitely always go with the live tree. You know, I'm a huge fan of just having that real tree and the smell and going out and picking it out and the whole thing of that. Now, I mean, that's to say, over recent years, I have had to have the basement tree. I'm sure many listeners are familiar with the quote-unquote basement tree where you put all your ornaments that the wife decides aren't classy enough for the living room.
So your Star Wars figures that you've turned into ornaments would fit into that.
That's where Christmas Goldberg and Christmas Big Sexy Kevin Nash go. That come out. You know, there's all sorts of other questions about Christmas Goldberg I have, but
Goldberg did play Santa Claus in a movie.
That is true.
So
there you go.
There is crossover there.
Yeah. But along with the live tree, probably my favorite thing on a Christmas tree that has also in recent years been delegated to the basement tree is I'm a huge fan of the old school, like 50s tinsel. You know, that comes in the bag and it's loose and you just kind of throw it at the tree. Oh, I love that.
That sounds like a nightmare. Just having to clean it up.
It makes the biggest mess, but I love it. We had it on my trees growing up with like those C8 bulbs. Like when you watch Christmas Story, look at their tree. Like that is what I think the perfect Christmas tree is.
I agree with you that tinsel looks fantastic. And if you've got it on a live tree, it means you just throw it out with the tree.
Yeah, totally.
So, but like for an artificial, because we're an artificial tree home. When I was a kid, I begged for a live tree one year, and even as a kid, because when you're a kid, you don't recognize what a hassle every single thing in life is. You just think everything's great.
Right.
Well, even as a kid, I recognized the hassle of the live tree the one year that my parents like caved in and did it. And also just, I like that smell, but not like in the doses that occur in your house when you have a live tree. Like I've got a Moss Man figure, and that's almost too much for me. But I love that you're hardcore and that you're doing it. Now let me ask you this: you say you've got the basement tree.
Oh yeah.
What kind of difference are we talking between basement tree and upstairs tree? Is it like covered in action figures and Star Wars stuff downstairs, and upstairs is like white bows and golden balls?
Oh, no, we
or
don't
is
go
there
to
a
that
little
extreme.
Okay, so it's not
Yeah.
like a Houses of Atlanta tree upstairs.
Oh no, the upstairs one still has stuff the ornaments made, like the stuff the kids made.
Like the kids do.
Yeah, like stuff we made. Yeah, more down here it's wrestling action figures and like a Yoda tree topper and just junk like that I've gotten over the years.
I find that ours kind of migrate, like the newer, nicer. Everything Phantom Junior's made is upstairs on that tree. But like when we get new ornaments, they'll be upstairs. But eventually they get retired to the bigger tree down here.
Right. Now, do y'all do like the yearly ornament for your tree?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
We each, usually what we do is the first time we go out, like Christmas shopping for the season, wherever we first find ornaments like on sale, which is usually Disney Store, because they'll do the like 3 for $20 on their ornaments or something like that. Then we'll each pick an ornament, and that'll be like the new ornament.
Yeah, we kind of ended up, and I don't even know, this kind of just started somehow, but my mom started giving the kids ornaments as their Christmas Eve present. She would come and they would each get a Hallmark ornament. And so now that's kind of become what they do, which I kind of like. It's kind of, they get one and they put it on the tree that night. And
yeah, both our kids' grandparents, both of them, their grandmothers give them an ornament every year. So that's why we typically don't, just because we've already got so many ornaments. But it's a big thing for the grandmothers to each give them their, 2018 Christmas ornament. But I like the idea of giving it on Christmas Eve. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's what my mom used to do. The only reason we don't do that is because I feel like it is neat, and obviously you keep that ornament forever, but we get it at the beginning of the season. That way it's up on the tree, the whole time. But I do, yeah, that's the same thing in my house when I was a kid, is we each got a new ornament on Christmas Eve and could open one present.
Yeah, we had the open one present on Christmas Eve deal as well.
Jay, I know you guys always have a pretty rockin' tree. Do you still just have the one centrally located tree?
No. We had that for years, but as the girls have gotten older, I believe we have 1, 2, 3, 4 Christmas trees in our house currently. So the girls each have a small tree in their rooms. We've got typically we have the big tree, centrally located. And then I want to say last year my mom gave us an auburn tree, which is like an orange tree with blue lights that's made it part of the decorations. But growing up, we were a real tree family. But me and my wife, we've been doing the fake tree thing. And apparently sometime between last Christmas and this Christmas, we got new furniture. And it dawned on us a little before Thanksgiving that we had nowhere to put our tree because we have an L-shaped couch now, and that was taking up a lot of the room. So we actually had to buy a second, which I guess would be what our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th Christmas tree. That's the skinny version that now goes in front of our built-in bookshelf.
you could put presents under all the trees in your house. It'd be like a fun little game Christmas morning.
Put one present under each tree and have the kids running back and forth. Yeah.
You have like stations, like this is the 9 a.m. tree. This is the whatever tree. I will say though, the basement tree saved us last year. We have over the last couple of years at the house we're in now, we have a really tall living room. And so, I mean, not consciously, but I was getting taller and taller trees every year. And I'm pretty sure last year was at least 13 feet tall.
Oh my gosh.
It was giant. And I totally put it in a stand that couldn't hold it. So, of course, on Christmas Eve, we have like all the parents over and we're doing a Christmas Eve dinner, and the tree totally bit it. Like slow motion.
Oh my God.
All 13 feet come crashing down, water everywhere. And so we just, you know.
Did you have presents underneath it?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Got wet, so we dragged the presents out and run them downstairs real fast. And then we're kind of looking at it, and we were like, well, there's no point to put it up. Put all the ornaments up Christmas Eve night.
Oh, my gosh.
Threw the tree in the trash outside, and then just had Christmas in the basement.
Wow.
There's, like, pictures of it. But, you know, that's one of those things, too, that, like, that will be a memorable Christmas for my children. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
They'll always remember the Christmas tree that fell down.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna move on to number 2, which will be my choice, and my first one is the John Denver and the Muppets Christmas special. Started, I believe, in 1978. I think that's right, and was a big part of my early Christmas years because it came on for several years. I think 1985 was when they stopped airing it regularly, and I had the album, as I'm sure you guys did as well. Did you guys? Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously you've seen it.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
And we had the record when I was a kid, and I listened to it all year round. It wasn't just at Christmas. But for years, well, it's still not officially available from Disney, which I don't understand at all, and I assume it's some kind of licensing thing with John Denver's estate, maybe. But you can find what I like to refer to as import copies.
Right.
Yeah, if you go online. But it's excellent. It's from beginning to end. It's absolutely wonderful. It has the sort of warm Christmas stuff you would expect, but also a little bit of Muppet weirdness going on. The songs are all great. A lot of traditional Christmas classics. I think most people around our age, if you ask them for a version of a Christmas song, a lot of them are going to come up with one of the Muppets and John Denver versions off of it from this special and off of this album. But I love it. It still holds up to this day, and I do have an import copy that we'll be watching sometime in the next couple of days here. Do you guys remember watching that special when you were kids?
I remember the special a little bit. I remember the record more than the special because I think I saw the special, once. But then I remember having the album, listening to it every year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the album was definitely more accessible because you got it and you own it. Like you don't have to worry about CBS or ABC or whoever wanting to air it. It's always accessible. But it's a wonderful, like that's a touchstone of Christmas for me. That's the first big special, even more so than a Charlie Brown Christmas. That Muppets and John Denver is the one that really, like, I can have those vague, very, very young child memories of watching that. Loved it. Jay, are you ready with a number 3?
Sure. Yeah. For me, it doesn't feel Christmas until decorations come up. That's always the Thanksgiving deal is, we go do Thanksgiving and then the Saturday or Sunday, whenever we get back, we start decorating. And we usually go fairly overboard and Griswold it out with the decorations. And that all started with our good friend Jeff, who was our roommate at the time. One Christmas, he came home with like an armful of lights, and he was like, "Dude, Kroger's got lights for 50 cents or something, something super cheap." And that's when we realized that you could buy Christmas decorations, for 50, 60, 90% off right after Christmas. So over the next few years, we just kept amassing more and more discount Christmas stuff until we just got super obnoxious with their decorations. Our neighborhood has 2 official Christmas light decorating contests in the 12 years we've lived here, and I've won both of them.
Wow!
And so they're having the third one now. It's an app now. So, but as I've gotten older, I've kind of tailed back. I'm no longer getting on the roof like I used to, with the kids and getting older. I've got it down to where I can put everything up in an afternoon and get everything back down in an afternoon. But for me, that's when it feels like Christmas is when and I can't wait to get home. It's getting darker earlier, so I can't wait to get home when it's dark so I can get the lights on and going.
Now, what is your lighting preference? I've gotten to the point where I won't put up anything but C9s, and they've got to be legit C9s, not the LED ones.
Yeah, I don't have any of the LED. It's all the old school. The only upgrade I guess I have is the ones that I've gotten to where I'll start getting the ones where they'll stay lit even if one goes out, because that's what kills me is having to spend 20 minutes trying to change fuses or lights to get it fortunate. It's all right, I'll just throw it away and get a new one.
But have you got the little lights or the big glass bulbs?
Little ones.
My big preference now for C9s is one, I just really like those are the big glass bulbs, like the old school 50s looking ones. The main reason I have a preference for those now, I like how they look, but it's so easy to see when one's burned out.
Yeah.
Because there's a light, every 6 inches or 8 inches or whatever it is. And as you were saying, after Christmas, you can buy everything super cheap. Every year I go around to all the stores and buy up the replacement C9 bulbs. So I've got a big stockpile of replacement bulbs. And every year, this year I had to replace 12 of them this year. But for the most part, they last a couple of years and are good to go. But I agree with you. That's day after Thanksgiving. That's just part of the ritual is putting up the lights outside. Any new weird stuff we might have gotten. I gave up on inflatables. Do you guys still do inflatables at all?
I do. I've got a mix of a little bit of everything. So I've got stuff that's flashing. I've got the snowflakes that are flashing. And over the last couple of years, I've gotten some of the laser stuff. So it's just a mishmash of everything. If it flashes and it's bright, I'll put it up.
Yeah, I have a few Star Wars inflatables left, and I have a Simpsons inflatable, but I think that Homer's on his last legs.
Yeah, you've had that Homer forever. That's been 10 plus years.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's amazing.
Yeah, he has lasted forever.
I didn't have great luck with inflatables. I went a few years where I put up a couple at Halloween, and then we had a few for Christmas, and they just seemed to burn out. Like, the motors would burn out, and I'd come home, they'd be laying on the ground, and the motors just, it wouldn't even start back up.
I've had pretty good luck. I lost a snowman this year, and that's the first one I've lost, and I've had him for 10 plus years.
Wow, that's awesome. I guess we are just not inflatables people. Which is okay, because they do require.
Well, you don't want to get over reliance on inflatables. I like pepper them in. You don't want to be the house that has nothing but inflatables. You got to hang the real lights too.
Yeah, and I like the plasticky outdoors tinsel stuff.
Yeah, I've got some of that stuff too.
I like those too.
Like the old school plastic ones. So I've got a couple Santas and a good old baby Jesus. And a few of those other ones. So I think the Wiseman. So I got that, and then the Nativity set plus the Santa and standing, and then Santa and the reindeer. And Ryan, I think you gave me that Santa and the reindeer.
Yeah, that's one of my old ones that we just didn't have room for anymore.
Yeah, and so the lights are all broken. So I just take a string of lights and duct tape it on the inside, up top, and that's the light for it.
What Ryan? What are you guys doing these days?
I've cut back last year just because of life was so crazy. I ended up buying some of those projectors and just used those, and it was fine. I'll probably get more of my stuff out. I went from there were years, I have the speaker set up where all the lights will go to the music. I mean, I have all that.
Yeah. I remember years where you and Jay were kind of fiercely competing.
Yeah, we were dueling houses for sure.
Yeah, but I just haven't had the time to do it. And I mean, and what's funny is both of us, Jay when he redid his electrical and me when I built my house, like parts of it are designed for the Christmas lights. Like I have outlets in the front of my house that operate on switches that are particularly made for Christmas lights. And like my builder thought I was crazy when I was setting it up. He was like, "What is all this for?" And I was like, "Hey, I just need to make it easier for Christmas."
Yeah, when we moved in, we were on glass fuses, and so my brother helped me rewire the entire house. And when we did, my entire outside is wired so that it can handle all the Christmas lights. And I can go downstairs, and with a button, I can turn on all the Christmas lights or turn them all off.
That's fantastic, man. Yeah, do you guys find yourself doing less indoors over the years?
Definitely. For me,
indoor, I've stayed the same.
Oh, really? See, we put up the nutcrackers every year. And but the last few years, that's kind of all we've done. But this year, I found a website with all of these old school. Some of them are the vacuform plastic, and some of them are the old school like cutout Santa and reindeer, like that you just stick on the wall.
Oh yeah.
I got a ton of those for nothing, and we haven't put them up yet. We're probably going to do it this weekend, but. Yeah, our indoor the last few years, and a lot of it is just because we've done a lot of moving stuff around, like Jay said, gotten new furniture. We had to get a new skinny tree last year because of the new furniture we had. So I feel your pain there. But yeah, it gets harder to bother with inside.
Mm. Yeah, we've pared down the last couple of years where we still have. I mean, it still looks like Christmas threw up in our inside, but it's a little bit less each year over the last couple of years.
Well, it's like, do you really need 12 musical Santas on the shelf?
Right. And everything you put out, you got to put back up. That's
right.
My biggest thing.
Well, and that's what happens is we bring out. We've got 6 or 8 tubs of Christmas stuff between the stockings and music boxes and nutcrackers and these like painted Santas and all this other stuff. And we bring them upstairs and we put out like each year we empty like one less tub. like we'll get 2 done, and we'll be like, you know what? That's probably good. We're solid. All right. For the 4th thing of Christmas, Ryan, what do you got?
So while we will get to good movies for Christmas soon, I'm sure.
Very soon.
One of the things that I always watch at Christmas, and I can't explain it, are the most sappy ass, like almost romantic movies about Christmas. And if it's on, I'll watch it. Like,
are you talking
like
Hallmark?
what? Give me an example.
Oh, like not like I'll watch some Hallmark, but like what's the big one? Oh, have you seen this movie, The Family Stone? I have to watch this movie every Christmas, and it is terrible. Like,
Never heard of that before.
No, I haven't either.
It's like Sarah Jessica Parker. There's a
geez.
mom dying of cancer.
Jesus Christ.
Like, it's terrible. But it's sitting on my DVR right now. Now, I don't own it. I haven't gone that far. But, like, after Thanksgiving, I will start searching on cable to find this movie. Because for some reason at Christmas, I turn into a blubbering, like, 40-year-old woman that needs to watch Love Actually for some reason.
Oh, no, I'm with you on the blubbering. Like, the past couple of years, I can't handle anything sentimental.
Yeah, well, for me, that's like nonstop. That's just getting old and having kids.
Right,
like,
right. Like, as we, and as we all know, we don't discuss the nature of Santa Claus here on the Needless Things podcast. But, boy, that's killing me, you guys.
This is our first year.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's very strange.
Oh, yeah,
we're not there yet.
Yeah,
we still got one that's right there in the middle.
Yeah, we're on the ledge. Like, at this point, I feel like I'm being humored. You know what I mean?
Yeah, last year we were definitely humored.
Yeah, but
still went through the motions. But this year, meh.
But like
this year, we were told that someone wants to put up a video camera and hide it in the tree so that she can watch it happen and confirm. Boy. So a friend of ours had the same request last year, and so he showed them the tape the next day, and it was the Elf on the Shelf. All you see is Elf on the Shelf pop up, and then put a piece of paper over the camera. And that was it.
That's actually pretty awesome. Yeah, I'll like start to, like when we go to the movies now. If there's a trailer for like a movie about a dog or something, I'll be sitting there.
Forget it.
Oh yeah, and what makes me so mad now is they leave the lights on during the trailers, so I'm like sitting there like, you know, with the lights halfway on in the movie theater, Alpha, tearing up at Alpha. I can't handle anything.
Yeah, it doesn't take me much. If there's any kind of like real emotion, I mean, Ryan, I think after, I think we were watching King Kong at the drive-in right after my daughter was born, and you know, I got to the end, toward the end, and I was tearing up at King Kong.
Whoa, that's awesome!
Wow,
nice.
So that gives you my gauge, and so
right.
If that can break me, you can imagine, you know, anything more than that will what it'll do.
Like just the mention of a dog's purpose and Jay's on the floor under a blanket.
Yeah,
I would never watch that movie. I wouldn't even watch that movie. All right, so the 5th thing of Christmas, and this is so odd because only in the last couple of years has this become a regular thing, but it's Batman Returns. Now, I saw Batman Returns in the theater when it came out. I've watched it probably every year since it came out. But for some reason, even though it takes place as Christmas, I never really thought of it as a Christmas movie. Did you guys?
Go ahead,
like
Ryan.
it was just a Batman movie, like a weird Batman movie.
I didn't even think about that until I saw somebody posted something about it this week on the internet. I saw somebody say something, yeah, this is the best Christmas movie. And then I started really thinking about it. I was like, oh, yeah, there's like whole subplots about them lighting the tree.
And the snow everywhere.
Yeah, Christmas is totally through that movie the entire time. The mistletoe's like a huge deal in it.
Yeah, it takes place it is a Christmas movie, even more so than Die Hard is.
Yeah.
But until we did the commentary on it a couple years ago, I don't know. I didn't think of it that way, but now it is full on a Christmas movie, like up while we're on while we're decorating and stuff. And I've got the soundtrack to it, and I was listening to it yesterday while we were putting up the basement tree.
I need to really rewatch that because it never really touched, it kind of got me that way. So I need to rewatch it.
Well, the age we were, because it came out in 91 or 2, right around there. So, like, the age we were at then, probably, I mean, I'm sure we still dug Christmas, but we weren't in the embracing Christmas mode. We were in the embracing Batman mode.
Right. For me, it was holy crap. Can you believe there's a comic book movie?
Right.
There's a live action Batman running around.
Yeah, murdering people, blowing clowns up, left and right. But yeah, I now I love it, and it's definitely like. I think it is sort of a under the radar type thing though, because it's not one that gets brought up a whole heck of a lot, and I look forward to like hopefully this year, because this year I have seen a couple of mentions of it now, and I'm hoping maybe by next year we'll start getting like Batman in a Santa hat ornament, get some merchandise off of this thing, right? Because that's what's important, really.
Absolutely.
All right, Jay, are you ready for the sixth thing of Christmas?
Yeah. Well, real quick, I'm not gonna say it, but you brought up Die Hard. But if you guys haven't seen it, there's a comedian that has a book called Die Hard Christmas.
Yes.
And it's an illustrated holiday classic.
It's like a children's book, right?
Yes, it's the telling of Die Hard in the style of a children's Christmas book.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It's the same guy that did the Die Hard coloring book. So I recommend both of those if anybody's interested. But I won't say Die Hard because everybody says Die Hard, but I'm going to say Scrooged with Bill Murray. That's one of our go-to Christmas movies that we have to watch every year. I loved it as a kid. I love it now. There's so many lines and so many parts with Bobcat and, like the mouse and trying to get the antlers on it. And, he's like, just staple it.
Have you tried Staples?
Yeah. It's
so good.
I don't know. It's just one of those movies that I loved it as a kid when it came out, and it's just to me that's Christmas. Like I've had multiple versions from VHS to DVD to Blu-ray. It's always there.
Yeah, Bill Murray is amazing in that movie. I don't think he gets enough, because people talk about Scrooged, but they never really focus in on just how good his performance is, because yes, it's a hilarious comedy. Yes, it's weird and it's a little dark, but if anybody other than Bill Murray was playing Scrooge in that, or not, he's not actually Scrooge. I can't remember his character's name now.
But yeah,
Lumpy.
Yeah, Lumpy. Right.
If it was anyone else, it wouldn't be as good.
No,
sure.
Well, I don't even know if it would work, because he has that wry, sort of funny bitterness to pull the character off, but still be lovable.
Yeah, the lovable asshole, I think,
yeah.
He can definitely pull it off.
He's truly reprehensible for the first part of that movie, so it needs to be Bill Murray for you to stick with the character and get through the movie. And then, on top of that, you got not Buster Poindexter. What's his real name? Is the cab driver.
The cab driver.
Oh, yeah.
From the band.
Yeah, New York Dolls, Buster Poindexter. I can't remember his name. He's fantastic. Carol Kane. It's all wonderful. And the Ghost of Christmas Future is all super creepy. Like, that scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. When he opens up the cloak and all the little souls are in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, wait, I'm confusing that with a Muppet Christmas Carol, aren't I?
No, there's a...
Yeah, he does. He opens it up.
Okay.
Elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
that's
says
right.
something
That's
about
right.
the special effects department.
Yeah. It's they do such a good job of modernizing the story, because there's so
the Lee Majors Christmas when he's got the Uzi coming out.
That is one of the best things in that whole movie, when it's showing the other stuff. Robert Goulet's Swamp Christmas.
Well,
he's got the stick.
And to tack on to that, you guys have seen A Very Murray Christmas, right?
Oh yeah.
The Netflix special that
Yeah.
hopefully will be back on this year. Oh, so good. Bill Murray. It's oddly enough has made himself an indispensable part of the Christmas season in two different ways. Yeah, Scrooge is fantastic. All right, Ryan, are you ready for the seventh thing of Christmas?
Yeah. This one is, I guess, a newer one for me. I guess it was around before, but over the past, I guess it's been a year and a half now, I started working for a school system again. So I get Christmas break now. And I get it with my kids. But you also forget, if you don't work in schools, how hyped school gets around December. Like,
oh, that's got to be so great.
It's terrible. My job is awful right now.
Oh, really?
People losing their shit, getting ready for
going
Christmas.
crazy.
You gotta remember, I'm in charge of kids' behavior at school. Like, all my kids are popping. But we get to do fun stuff. I mean, we have Christmas parties, but, like, you forget, like, schools, especially, like, that week before Christmas, it is electric in there. Those kids are hyped. And you can totally use the thing in school, like, especially with our little ones, you can talk about Santa, and they'll be like, oh, don't tell my mom. But, yeah, Christmas break, even me getting to have it is so much fun to be home with the kids and just hanging around, and that's been a really good thing.
That's great. That's got to be just electrifying, man. That's to be around that, because I mean that's one of the reasons I actually miss working in retail. Is when I was doing that, you get the customers, you get the preparation, you get just that energy. Even though it's exhausting, it keeps you going, and there's no way but to just be immersed in the holidays, which is why I make a point of, I mentioned earlier our first like holiday shopping trip, and I make a point of taking the family like to a mall at least a couple of times during the season.
That sounds miserable to me. Like, I could not. I am trying to avoid that as much as possible.
No, man, it's so well. We have the advantage of usually there's a day off early in December because I get days off during the week. So when we do it, it's usually like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, so it's not totally insane.
Gotcha. Yeah, that would be much better.
But man, just going in and seeing that, like, the malls still put up the big giant Christmas trees, like walking through Macy's and seeing all the really nice decorations and all of the Christmas stuff that's out for sale. And man, I feed off that so much. I love those little shopping trips out just to see that commerce is still out there and that Amazon hasn't killed everything.
Yeah. Yeah, my kids don't know yet, but Saturday they're going to do the picture at the mall with Santa.
Excellent.
I don't care how old they are. They're still going to go do it.
Heck yeah.
We got ours done this weekend. There's one in our neighborhood. Well, there's actually two. There's Asshole Santa, which happened a couple weeks ago, that Henry has done and been nice enough to donate the profits toward Olio the last few years. But that's a lot of fun. The kids have a blast. But he's a dirty Santa holding scotch bottles and a cigar, taking photos with anybody. But then we have like the more traditional neighborhood Santa that we've done. We were talking to him about it on Sunday. We've done it every year since Ava's been born. So this was the 11th year in a row that we've gotten our pictures taken there.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, and that's a big thing too, is seeing, like, we will hit 3 or 4 of the local, or I generally will, just because I pass literally 3 malls going home from work. Because I work really far away, and I'll stop in just to check out like what the Santa setup is, because that to me, I love seeing, is there a big castle, is it just the chair, is there some kind of pathway, because North Point Mall, which is here in Alpharetta, typically has some kind of giant like castle or cabin or walk through wilderness area. Like, they've always got some big insane thing going on. There's Bass Pro Santa at at Sugarloaf Mills Mall.
Is he weird in camo?
He was one year. And I don't know, I don't think he did it every day. But it just so happened that the day we went, I think, was like a special bag of deer with Santa Day or something. I don't know. but
Santa's reindeer didn't perform this year.
Right. We gotta put Donner out to pasture. But I just love seeing well, and actually this is on just a couple weeks ago on our sort of first trip out. We were in Sugarloaf Mills, and their Santa, who's a very good one, like full on like high quality representative of Santa Claus with the full beard and hair, and this is a guy who in July you see at Walmart, and he looks like that. But he's just walking around the mall, and I was like, oh my gosh, look, Santa's just walking around. Like, I love that. I love being out in that. All right, so moving on to the 8th thing of Christmas. We're going to get a little racy here, but we have to, because I have to talk about my favorite Christmas album of all time. The one that is one of the first things I listen to every single year for the last 20-something years. And that is Mojo Nixon and the Toadlickers' Horny Holidays. Now, not everybody has heard this album or is even aware of this album. Have you guys heard? I mean, obviously you guys know who Mojo Nixon is.
Well, yeah. If you don't know about Mojo Nixon, your store could use some fixing.
Exactly.
I haven't listened to that album in... I don't know the last time I listened to that.
It's phenomenal. Because the funny thing is they do a lot of the Christmas classics, and the Toadlickers are a very, very, very talented band. That musically, it's an excellent Christmas album, but on top of an excellent Christmas album, you have Mojo Nixon drunkenly performing Christmas classics. In the way that only he can, which is a lot of people have probably heard the version of Louie Louie where Mojo just goes, Christmas, Christmas. Oh, yeah. Like, a lot of people are familiar with that one. But anyway, this is and that's not from that album. That's actually from a punk Christmas compilation from years ago. But if you haven't heard it, Mojo Nixon and the Toadlickers' Horny Holidays I love it. Obviously, it is not family friendly. I listen to it in the car by myself, but it's just fantastic. It's hilarious. It is, because I'm pretty picky about how people talk about Christmas and Jesus and Santa and all that kind of stuff. It gets raunchy without being disrespectful, because the whole concept is that Mojo is kind of an idiot. One of the songs even, they start Good King Wenceslas, and they start and he's like, wait a minute, I don't know the words to this song. Let's just go fa la la. So I mean, it's when you're...
Yeah, I have to look it up. I don't know that I've ever heard it before.
Yeah,
wow,
dude, it's so good. Highly recommend it for everybody, definitely. So moving on, we've got one more. We're going to get to a different category in just a second here. We're going to do sort of a subcategory, but before that, Jay, what is the 9th thing of Christmas?
For me, it's just getting together. We've had an annual Christmas party, the Ho Ho Hornsby's. I want to say it started in 2002 or 2003. We've had it every year since, and it's just one of those few times in the year that we can get all of our friends together, or most of them, obviously. You can't make it this year because of work, but we get a good chunk of friends all together. And as we've gotten older, as we've gotten kids, it's not like we used to be where we're, hanging out with 50 people every Sunday playing kickball. It's, you got to pick your spots. It's Dragon Con. It's Days of the Dead. It's, some parties. And so for me, that's always a big thing, is getting together and having, seeing all my friends, or a good chunk of my friends, all in the same place at the same time.
Yeah, I adored going. I haven't been in a couple of years because I've either been working or I've been doing games at Bo's Holiday Puppet Show. I think 1 or 2 years I've missed it because of that. But some of my favorite Christmas memories are from that party. And actually, my final selection is related to that, but I'll save it. But yeah, thank you guys for doing that every year. Now, I've got to ask you, do you still have the Wreath of Khan?
It does. It's hanging on my door. It fell apart end of last year, so there was some repairs to it this year. But it is currently hanging on my kitchen door as we speak.
So let me verify this with you guys. Your old pal Dave made a Wreath of Khan long before it became like every other meme on the internet at Christmas time.
I will say I had it hanging on my door, I want to say at least 2 years before I saw it again.
Yeah, that was all me, baby.
I actually thought of that the other day, or actually today, because I want to say like Bobby or somebody posted a picture of one of those. And I was like, wait a second. I remember seeing that years and years ago, but that's what it's from.
Yep,
yeah.
Hanging on my door.
And I'm sure I'm not the first one that came up with it, but I would bet money I'm the first one that fucking made one.
And I was thankful that you did, because it's become a part of our annual Christmas decorations ever since.
And I love that it is. Well, awesome. You guys, well, actually, no, wait. Ryan, do you have any specific Ho-Ho Hornsby's memories that spring to mind? Well, can you even remember? Because there's some that I can't even remember.
Well, one thing, let me jump in real quick.
Yeah.
One thing that we do that I'm very happy with is the Dirty Santa game. That's evolved over the years, but some of the gifts that are given every year are phenomenal. And, again, going back to the Wrath of Khan, that's where that came from. We can have the gift exchange, people steal gifts. But, I mean, I remember one year it was all shake weights for some reason. There was like 6 shake weights. There was like a couple years where the light-up religious art from Buford Highway Mall were big.
A couple years ago, I got to use a squatty potty for the first time because somebody bought it.
Fantastic.
I think the one that won, though, I think it will always be the best Ho-Ho Hornsby Christmas gift. And I don't remember who even brought it, but it was the Twin Towers knife.
Oh, I can tell you exactly who that was because I ordered it from my father-in-law's knife catalog.
Oh, it was yours? That thing was the most horrifying.
It was so goddamn awful. It was a 9/11 commemorative knife. It was double-bladed in the shape of the two towers. It came with, I want to say, a bald eagle stand behind it. Yeah, that was pretty bad. But yeah, that came directly from my father-in-law's knife, one of his many knife catalogs.
That has to be a Bud K item.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I bet you're right.
It's got to be from the Bud K catalog.
I have no idea. It was just a sea of knives, and that jumped out.
That's tremendous. All right, you guys, I think it's time. We can't experience all this wonderful Christmas cheer without throwing in and acknowledging just a little bit of humbug, because along with the joy of the Christmas season, obviously there come frustrations as well. Jay, would you like to kick us off with your humbug?
You bet. For me, it's a absolute no-brainer. It's the elf on the shelf.
Oh, yes.
If you're not familiar with this is for kids, and the idea is the elf shows up and they're spying on you or helping Santa watch you to make sure you're good, and every day it moves. And so kids have great expectations that they're going to move every day, and some parents go crazy with it. Like one morning the elf may be on the toilet pooping Skittles, or it may be doing some other crazy stuff. But if you're a busy parent and you forget to move it, there's nothing worse than that feeling when you wake up the next morning when you realize the elf has not moved since yesterday, and the kid is walking around looking for it.
And I will say this, as I mentioned, we don't discuss the nature of Santa on this show, but I have no problem discussing the nature of Elf on a Shelf, because that is some commercialism bullshit, and I love commercialism. But, like, that thing is purely a made-up, some brilliant person somewhere is rich because they came up with this shit, like, 20 years ago?
I thought it was even newer than that.
It might be. It might be.
There's books, and now you can get outfits for it.
Sure.
It's insane. But, there's some parents that go so far into it. So the kids go to school, and the other kids talk about how their elf did, all this crazy shit where he got into the toilet paper and TP'd the house.
Right.
And they're like, well, my elf moved from the bookshelf to the dresser.
Mine knocked over the dog's bowl. Yeah, we were never an elf on a shelf house. We just
I regret it.
We made that decision that we were not going to jump into that particular aspect of the season.
Yeah, good decision on that one.
Yeah, I'm glad we're done with it.
Oh,
Although I did have fun because we had two because we couldn't find it one year, so we got another one.
As do we. And we all accidentally almost pulled it out in front of folks when we this is where we hid it.
Oh, no.
I did enjoy because our second elf I named Tammy and would make references to Tammy's regular day job, which my wife was not amused that I would say in front of the children.
What's the day job?
Every once in a while, Tammy would wake up and have some $1 bills, and the kids would be like, "Where did those come from?" And I'd be like, "Look, kids, Tammy has things to do." And then my wife did not think that was funny.
You think those toys are free, kids? Come on, someone's got to pay for them.
Tammy only works 1 month a year. She's got to be doing other stuff. Yeah, that's right. Oh.
Ryan, what about you? Have you got a humbug about the season?
Yes. My humbug is eggnog. Who the hell thinks that is a good idea?
I love it.
I
love it. Oh, my gosh. I drank some before we started recording tonight. I threw a couple of shots of rum into a big old glass of eggnog, and I love it.
Oh, that's so gross.
We used to have a roommate, and starting November, he would start just getting gallons of it. And he was lactose intolerant. He wouldn't drink milk, but he sure as hell would drink the hell out of some eggnog.
That's because it's magic, and it doesn't hurt you in the same way that milk does. It will only give you, diabetes and cholesterol problems, which is why the government regulates it to 6 weeks out of the year.
And
I've had one glass of eggnog that I've enjoyed, and I've never been able to replicate it. I don't know what brand it was or what, but every other glass I've ever had is just gross.
There's for sure bad eggnog out of there. And actually, my wife will make homemade eggnog that is the best I've ever had. But regularly Mayfield is my brand. But yeah, no, I love it. I fucking love eggnog. I want eggnog pancakes, eggnog milkshakes, everything. I love it.
Gross.
I'm with you, Ryan. I can't do it.
That's awesome. I've been sitting here trying to think of what my humbug is. And now that I'm out of retail, I can't really complain about the long hours and the everything that it comes along with that. I guess I'll just say, you know what? I'm going to single one thing out. I'm going to single out the John Lennon Christmas song.
Oh.
That I can't even think what the name of it is, which is fine because I don't want it getting stuck in my head.
Stuck in your head.
You know what I'm talking about.
It's just that one part where he says to her, "Merry Christmas, Yoko. Merry Christmas, John."
It is.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
The worst. And it gets, it gets as much airplay as anything this time of year.
Isn't it? So this is Christmas. Parentheses, war is over.
Yeah, that's it. Oh,
it's got a parentheses. Anything with the parentheses is infuriating.
You guys, it is the worst. Well, and you know what? Paul McCartney's got a Christmas song that's also terrible. What is his?
His is Last Christmas I Gave You My Heart.
No. That's Wham.
Oh, that is Wham.
And that song, I love that song.
What is Paul McCartney's?
I don't know. I can't remember it right now, but his is awful too. Don't They Know It's Christmas?
Oh,
Isn't that his?
They know it's Christmas.
No, simply having a wonderful Christmas time. That's his.
Oh, yeah.
I hate it. The Beatles, whatever you think of the Beatles, and I think, they're great rock. You can't deny they're a legendary rock band. They make shitty Christmas music.
Yeah.
So that's my humbug is Beatles Christmas music is awful. It's the worst. But enough of that. It's time to get back on the happy trail of the holidays for our final 3 things of Christmas. Ryan, what is your final thing of Christmas?
Mine, this one, it started off as a bah humbug, and then surprisingly, Amazon came in and saved the day.
Whoa.
When they shipped a toy catalog this year.
Yes, right?
Really? I didn't know I saw it.
You know, and my kids are old enough that they aren't even really getting that anymore. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
they
not
don't,
Sears catalog.
they don't really
understand.
do toys anymore. Well, no, they just like, my kids aren't into toys that much anymore. They're old enough now where, you know, one is saving for a car and the rest want phones and stuff. But they sure did sit down and look through that entire toy catalog when it came. And, you know, it's never going to be good as the Sears once was, or even the Toys R Us from a few years ago. But, you know, good for Amazon for stepping up and doing that.
Yeah, I was so excited when that came in the mail, and I gave it to my son, and same deal. He's not really interested in toys anymore, and it's very much a toy catalog. This year, it's like video games and PlayStation Store money or cards or whatever they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I missed those wish books. The 2 big ones. Well, okay, Sears and JCPenney were the 2 big ones.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also, when we were kids, service merchandise.
That service
was a good one.
merchandise one was sweet.
Dude, the service merchandise one was probably actually the best one, but it was within our lifetimes, it was the most short-lived.
It had a lot of electronics and other stuff, too. It wasn't just toys.
Sweet-ass calculator watch. Right?
Yeah. Oh, dude, beyond the calculator watch, do you guys remember it was not actually a transformer, but it was a watch that turned into a robot?
Oh, yeah, I had it.
Armatron.
Yep.
That's what it was called. It was a little square watch, and you pulled the face off, and it turned into this little square robot. It wasn't really that amazing, but that one year, we all had it.
Yep. And I bet I wore it like 3 times.
Yeah.
And it was just gone.
Because it had the vacuum metal on it, and it would like rub off after like a day.
Yeah, break within a week.
Yeah, definitely. But that was those wish books, man. When those came in the mail, that was it. You sat down with that thing, and you worked harder on those than you did on any homework you ever had.
Yep, circle, 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 all through that thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, my youngest, you know, I mentioned we went to Santa on Sunday, and she didn't know what she wanted. And it was like, I mean, it was stressing her out. Like, she was getting, like not feeling good because she was so stressed out. And, like, we had to keep reassuring her, like, hey, it's cool, you know, like, even if you don't know what you want, just tell them, and we can put a letter in later. But, like, I mean, it was, like, a huge deal for that, you know, she was losing her shit because, you know, she didn't know what she wants and didn't want to say the wrong thing and get the wrong thing.
Right.
So, you know, having those catalogs and, like you said, just spending so much time poring over them and circling and starring and, you know, staring, there's it's not nearly the same as, like, the Amazon wish list or whatever that the younger kids have today.
No, definitely not. Let's see here. It is my turn. My last thing of Christmas. So I'm going to go with music again, because this is necessarily. I refer to it often as the greatest Christmas song of all time. I love it, and I couldn't start a Christmas season without hearing it. But I wouldn't even say it's my favorite Christmas song, but it's definitely one that I do love, and it has a story attached. Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. That song is phenomenal. And here's how it became such a big thing to me. Years ago, at the Ho-Ho Hornsby's Christmas party, one of the traditions of that party, and I don't know if it still carries on to this day, but years ago, at some point, a small contingent of partygoers would venture forth to a bar called Mary's.
It still happens some.
Now, as you dear listeners might imagine, a bar in East Atlanta called Mary's might have a certain focus to it.
Well, no, I will say it is in my neighborhood, and I'm very proud of it because it's one of the best gay bar in a number of years in creative loafing. It's a blast, and Dave, I know you and Ryan and I have all been there multiple nights.
Yes.
And it's a lot of fun, and it's a great bar. Highly recommend it.
Every time I've been there has been a lot of fun, whether it was during Hornsby's Christmas party or whether it was to see Les Exoflex.
I remember that night. That was a blast.
It's a great place. It's a party atmosphere because let's be honest, when you're hanging out with a room full of drunk gay dudes, you're going to have a good time. Unless you have a problem with drunk gay dudes, in which case you're a fucking moron. So, one year we left the Ho Ho Hornsby's Christmas party, ventured forth to Mary's, and Mary's also was having a Christmas party, and not just like it was the night of their annual Christmas party. So they're playing Christmas music, and the video for Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas Is You" comes on. They play the song, and everybody in that place went fucking bonkers. Like, everyone was dancing and singing along, and it's literally the most festive I've ever felt in my life, because if you think about it, combining gay dudes with Christmas, there's literally nothing more festive than that. So just hearing that, it was just incredible. I was like, man, this song is amazing. And I had heard it before and I liked it, but that kicked it up a notch. It was almost like, you know how sometimes you hear a song by a band and you're like, oh, that's pretty good, but then you see them play it live and it completely changes your outlook on the song? You're like, definitely. Oh, this is the shit. That's what happened there. So I actually did some research on the song because I wanted to know who originally did it, because in my head it had to be a cover because it's such a perfect song. It had to be something from like the 50s or the 60s, a traditional song that like the Supremes had done or something like that. And it's not. It's Mariah Carey's song. I don't think she wrote it. Well, I don't think she wrote anything she sings, but like that's it. That's where the song comes from. It's not a cover. It's not a traditional song, but it sounds so perfectly like retro and classical, that to me, I love that song, and that experience of hearing it in that environment just took it to another level. So now it is every year one of the, after Mojo Nixon, the next thing I listen to is Mariah Carey.
Nice.
All right, Jay, you got to bring it home. What is the 12th thing of Christmas?
Yikes, lots of pressure. I got a couple, but let me pick one. I was going to say, I guess, Elf, just because I think that's a contemporary Christmas classic. My kids love it, and they always look to watch it. They're always asking about it whenever it becomes Christmas. But not going to say that. I'm going to say go back to the old school and do the night before Christmas. One of the things since my oldest has been, was tiny, it's been a Christmas tradition for us to read that book together right before they go to bed, right when we put out the cookies and milk for Santa. And every time I read it, it's all I can think about it is all the memories of having one or both of my kids, cuddle up with me as we're reading that, getting ready for bed on Christmas Eve.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. Yeah, that's it's always been a big part of my Christmas. My mother's father would read it for years, and then my dad would read it, and we actually now have a book that my dad recorded, and as you turn the pages, his voice reads the story.
It's him reading it?
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's great.
It really is. Like we were talking earlier about getting emotional and sentimental or whatever, but like when they sent that down one year because they're up in North Carolina, so we don't always get to see them around Christmas. And when I opened, because I didn't know what it was, they hadn't told me that he had done that.
Right, just look like a book. So
right.
It wasn't until you opened up the first page.
And his voice comes out of
awesome.
it. Oh man, I was just crying. It was ridiculous. Yeah,
guess what? I'm going to be searching on Amazon in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's wonderful. Ryan, what about you? Are there any specific memories of like versions of that story or anything?
Oh yeah, we do the same thing where we read it to them the night before, on the couch, and they still, even as they get older, they ask for it, and that's just one of those things you do.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a tradition. It's a necessary Christmas tradition, and it's so I love it because it's fun. It doesn't take forever to get through it, and you can put as much or as little into it as you want to. Like if you want to, jump up and run around, you can. But if you kind of just want to chill out on the sofa and read, that's fine too. Like it lends itself to lots of different reading styles.
Yeah, I think ours is always like the quiet, settling down. All right, time for bed kind of thing.
That's ours too. It's like everybody's in pajamas. We're like like you said, on the couch together, and then this is kind of like the last step. I'm like, all right, as soon as this is over, it's time to go lay down and get ready.
I'm sure this won't come as a surprise to you guys, but I tend to jump up and run around the room and act it out. but like I said, now that we've got this one that my dad did, we just kind of sit together around that one and listen to that. It's amazing. Well, cool, you guys. I think we've done it. I think we have successfully shared the 12 things of Christmas that we send out to the listeners. How do you feel about the holidays in general this year? Is everything lining up? Everything going well?
Yes, to me, I'm super slammed at work, and so I'm looking forward to trying to deconnect for a bit, for the week. I'm taking that entire week off. So we usually do our traveling for Thanksgiving. So we had 4 cities in 4 days for Thanksgiving, and so Christmas is our time to not move. So I cannot wait to basically not leave the house for a week and not have to get in the car and drive across state lines. And just be able to hang out and chill with the family and everybody.
What about you, Ryan? Is everything lining up for you?
I feel like we're kind of behind this year with that extra, Thanksgiving fell kind of early this year.
Yeah.
And so we really haven't. We've gotten our tree and we're letting all the branches fall and it soak up water. So we'll really decorate this weekend and get everything up and really get going this weekend. So I'm ready for it, though.
Yeah, we've got the outside is done. The inside, we've got all the nutcrackers and everything up. And like I said, this weekend we'll put up all that new stuff that I got. I'm in it. We haven't. The only thing that we've watched so far is the Christmas Chronicles, the new Kurt Russell Santa movie.
My kids watched it the other day. I missed. I watched 20 minutes of it.
It's awesome. Highly recommend.
Kind of creepy, like the small elves.
No, they're adorable. They're great. I mean, they're basically just minions. I mean, that's totally what they are, and it's fine in the context of this movie. It's fine. It works. But we've still got to sit down with Home Alone and Christmas Vacation and Scrooged and Elf. We haven't done Elf yet. You mentioned Elf, and I think it's probably the best Christmas movie of all time.
Yeah, and the fact that it's so new, when you think of Christmas movies, you typically think of movies, that have been out forever.
Yeah.
But the fact that, it became a Christmas classic, was it TBS one year that they played it nonstop for 2 days?
Yeah, I think they replaced, instead of doing A Christmas Story one year, they did Elf.
Yeah.
Which had people up in arms.
Yeah, and I think it's great. I love it. My kids love it. They quote it during Christmas, and it's a great one.
Oh, you're an angry elf. All right, you guys. Well, that is it for the Christmas season. Thank you for coming on the show, sharing your own Christmas memories and the things you love about the season. What are you up to? Where can we find you online, Jay?
Belligerentmonkey.com. That's belligerentmonkey.com. So this is usually, I just finished the Indie Craft Experience 2 weekends ago, and that's typically my last big show for the year. But you can always look for me on Etsy as well. And this is kind of I go in hibernation for the winter, so I'm kind of quiet. But just check me out online, belligerentmonkey.com.
And Ryan, we need to talk comic book television sometime soon. It's my fault that we haven't, because I stopped watching Arrow and Supergirl.
Oh, they've been good this season.
Get out, really?
I've really enjoyed the Arrow
wow.
story. But yeah, we need to talk about Gifted and...
We need to talk about all the Netflix stuff. Cancellation.
Yeah, we need to do that. We need to talk about Titans. We really need to talk about Titans.
Oh, yeah. How did that get good?
Right.
What?
But
oh, no. Oh, yeah, we'll save that, Jay. You need to go watch it.
I need to
awesome.
watch back. I watched the first couple of episodes, and I just had no desire to go back to it.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, that'll be a show for another day. You guys, thank you so much for coming on and talking about Christmas. And to everybody, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Happy Holidays.
Yep. Merry Christmas. Thanks, everybody.
As you know, we don't discuss the nature of Santa Claus here on the Needless Things podcast. I was going to, however, include a warning in the intro about our frank discussion of Elf on a Shelf, but Elf on a Shelf is bullshit, so who cares? And plus, if you're listening to the Needless Things podcast with young children, you're making poor life decisions, and they've probably already been ruined by other things that have been discussed on this show in the past. I want to mention once again Les Exoflex, the Mystery Men, Casket Creatures, our friends at Theme Park Alchemy. Go do some Christmas shopping there. I think you've got time still to get your products before Christmas or in time for Christmas. Great candles that I personally endorse will cover up the scent of horrid dog diarrhea. So good job making candles, everybody there. The end of the month, there is a big Fuck Cancer benefit show coming up. I am currently scheduled to host many bands. More details on that next week. But our pals, the Casket Creatures, will be playing that. I'm very excited also to finally be getting to see our pals Ricky and Bambi and Learning to Count. In addition to Die 985 and some other great bands that, like I said, I'll talk more about that next week. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, right. Next week, Needless Things minicast with our pal Ryan Schweck. We talk about Mezco's 112 collective action figure line. And next Friday on the show, big guest, Adam Paulus from 16bit.com, from galactichunter.com. He is the Steve Sansweet of the internet. He knows Star Wars toys like nobody's business. We had an amazing conversation. You'll love it. I love you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Needless Things podcast. You're the best. You can find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Downcast, or in the ears of a Trader Vic's employee. Love you. Mean it. Uh-huh.